We often hear salt and sodium in the same sentence, so let me explain the difference to you. I'm Susan Bowerman, registered dietitian. First of all, why are we so concerned about sodium in the first place? Well, for one thing, we eat too much of it. The recommendation is that we eat about 2,300 milligrams per day, but the average person eats about 3,500. So why the focus on salt? Well, the reason is simple. The salt that's in your salt shaker is about 40% sodium. So when you add salt to your food when you're cooking or you add it at the table, you're adding sodium to your food. But it turns out that most of the sodium that we get in our diet isn't really coming from salt that we're using at home. It comes from things like restaurant foods, and it comes from processed foods like canned soups and cheeses. And so we get much more sodium from these foods that we're eating outside of the house. The typical fast food meal could have about 3,000 milligrams of sodium. That's more than you should be eating for the entire day. So if you want to reduce your sodium, how can you do it? Well, you can watch how much salt you use at home when you're cooking and what you use at the table. But the other thing that's really important is to try to eat foods as close as possible to their natural state. And that's because the more processed they are, they tend to have more sodium. Let me give you a couple of examples. If you were to buy, for example, just a box of rolled oats that you were going to cook into oatmeal, that would have 0 milligrams of sodium per serving. But if you bought the instant oatmeal that's flavored and sweetened, it's going to have about 250 milligrams of sodium in it. Another example, if you bought fresh turkey breast and you roasted it at home, about 15 milligrams in a serving for 3 ounces, 100 grams, very little sodium. But if you bought the processed turkey at the deli counter to slice into sandwiches, you're looking at about 20 times the amount of sodium. Now, you can buy lower sodium versions, and that's a good start, but lower sodium turkey that you buy at the deli counter is still pretty high. So the bottom line is you really want to look at your labels so you know how much sodium you're getting, keeping in mind that your upper limit, your target, is about 2,300 milligrams per day. Now, the other thing that you can do is think of other ways that you can season your foods. Garlic, onion, herbs, and spices. There's lots of ways that you can season foods without adding salt. For some more tips on how to season your foods, check out my video on herbs and check out my video on spices.